Goken, the unsat master who lived a life of peace and taught Ryu everything there is about life, is dead. Murdered by his own brother Akuma. This tragedy, coupled with Ryu's tapping into the Satsui no Hadou to defeat Sagat, has left the young martial artist in disarray, doubting everything he learned about life and himself. Not sure what to do, Ryu decides to find his master's murderer, avenge him, and find the answers he seeks about the nature of the Satsui no Hadou. Leaving the dojo, Ryu embarks on a new journey into the unknown. Around the same time, Bison, the mysterious figure that challenged Goken recently, is starting to make his move. Through his crime syndicate known as Shadaloo, Bison is slowly moving the pieces towards an unknown ultimate goal. His influence started reaching all corners of the world. He soon would control known drug cartels, order assassinations, and achieve political influence. Bison's reach and power grew unchecked, and so was his own army and arsenal. Recruiting top-of-the-line scientists and private military units, as well as developing state-of-the-art technological projects. The mysterious leader also showed an interest in known fighters. He recruited 3 powerful warriors and appointed them as his lieutenants. First was the former boxing heavyweight champion Balrog. This disgraced boxer was known for his sheer power and illegal moves in the ring. He was kicked from the boxing circuit after accidentally killing an opponent in a match. His greed and lust for both money and power made him an easy recruit for Bison, who he now serves as an enforcer. The second fighter that Bison recruited is the Spanish bullfighter and ninja Vega. Born to a noble family in Spain, Vega is a twisted individual who is obsessed with beauty. Trained as a bullfighter, he later traveled to Japan, where he learned the art of ninjutsu from an unknown master. Combining matador techniques with ninja skills, Vega was recruited as an assassin for Bison. And finally, the man whose reputation and life were ruined by Ryu's Satsui no Hadou, Sagat. After losing to Ryu, the former Muay Thai emperor has become aimless, consumed by revenge. His friends and students left him. While he has no interest in Bison and Shadaloo's agenda, he believed that joining the crime syndicate and having access to Bison's influence and technology would allow him to easily locate Ryu and exact his revenge. Sagat was hired as Bison's personal bodyguard. All 3 of these enforcers would be known as the Shadaloo Kings. It would not take long for the world powers to notice Bison's and Shadaloo's existence and threats. Several countries have started to make their move to infiltrate or work against the crime syndicate. The United States military would assign the task of investigating Shadaloo to Charlie Nash, a senior officer with a stellar reputation. Nash would soon realize that Shadaloo's influence has reached all corners of world institutions, including the United States military. This was all confirmed when a secret mission to Thailand, along with his top subordinate and friend Guile, almost cost them their lives due to Shadaloo informants. Upon his return to the United States and his Shadaloo investigation mission assigned, Nash and Guile would travel the world looking for clues about Bison and his organization. It was in one of those trips that the two met a young and strong woman working with the ICPO, Chun-Li. Chun-Li has been tracking Shadaloo for a while, especially since the disappearance of her father, a police officer who was also on the trail of Bison. As she was getting closer to the truth, Chun-Li was ambushed by Bison's assassin Vega, who quickly defeated the young, inexperienced ICPO agent. Vega would hint to Chun-Li that he knows what happened to her father before disappearing. Young Chun-Li traveled the world following Vega's trail to learn her father's whereabouts. This is when Chun-Li met with Charlie and Guile for the first time and was advised by them to work together as a team. Chun-Li would then find the Spanish Matador ninja and was able to defeat him this time. Before leaving the area, Vega reveals to Chun-Li that her father is already dead. Broken and saddened by the news, Chun-Li vowed revenge while she accepts to work with the US government through Nash and Guile. As for Ryu, the wandering young warrior has been traveling the world, fighting different opponents and looking for his master's murderer. Due to him defeating Sagat, he became a Street Fighter legend that many fighters would seek and challenge. During one of these street fights, a young high school student by the name of Sakura Kasugano witnesses the full match and was awed by Ryu's might and techniques. Inspired by the world of street fighting, Sakura would later make it her goal to find the traveling warrior and ask him to become her master. The search for Akuma has led Ryu to a secluded island where he heard Goki, Akuma, is living. The island is known as Gokuento, and it would not be long before Ryu would come face to face with Akuma. A tense energy filled the air as both practitioners of Unsatsuken face each other. The battle was fierce. While Ryu was fighting with all his power, Goki was only testing Ryu's power. Akuma, who sensed Ryu's awakening of Satsui no Hadou, stopped the match and explained to Goken's disciple that the Satsui no Hadou is his destiny and the murderous intent is part of his very being that he would need to accept, as there is no escaping from its dark grasps. Before Ryu could fully realize the meaning of Akuma's words, the Unsatsuken demon shows his full might by destroying the entire island with his bare fists. And disappearing in the shadows. Ken, who has heard about Ryu defeating Sagat as well as his master's murder, decides to leave the US to find his old friend and learn more about what happened. After a little while, the two finally met. Ryu, seeking answers to many questions, asks Ken what it means to be a true fighter and whether he believes that embracing Satsui no Hadou is unescapable and the only way ahead. Ken, free-spirited as always, tells Ryu how the Japanese warrior is back to his old habit of overthinking everything and asks Ryu for a match. The two started what would later be seen as an important fight in both their lives. Both fighters have greatly improved since their last match. After a close fight, Ken emerges as the victorious one. Helping Ryu on his feet, Ken removes his red headband and gifted it to Ryu, asking him whenever he feels lost, he should look at the headband and remember this fight as a way to bring in him to his senses. Ryu thanked Ken for the gift and for the fight, and the two parted their ways once more. Shortly after, Sakura, the young girl who has been looking for Ryu for some time, finally caught up with the wandering warrior. Sakura asked Ryu for a match, to which he agreed. After a fun short battle with Ryu winning, Sakura asked Ryu to become her master. Feeling he is unworthy and that he himself still has much to learn, he declined the request. Sakura, disappointed by his decision, asked Ryu for a picture to remember this day. to which he had no choice as she took it before he even answered the request. Sakura Kasogano vowed to herself to learn Ryu's techniques on her own while still presuming him to be her master. As Bison and Shadaloo's influence kept going unchecked, many warriors felt the menace of the mad dictator as his dark energy affected the balance of nature itself. Rose, a fortune teller from Italy, has kept an eye over Bison for a while and has been checking on many fighters that could contribute to Bison's defeat. Rose is a master of a mysterious power known as soul power, but what many did not know is that Rose knew Bison more than anyone. In fact, she knew him before he turned to the dark side, as Bison was Rose's mentor. Their bond, however, was deeper than that. Through their use of the soul power, Bison and Rose have their souls intertwined, as if both warriors shared the same soul. Bison, feeling the soul power as weak, would later adopt a different side to it, called the psycho power, before embarking on his world-dominating goal. Soul power and psycho power were two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other, and the same is true for both Rose and Bison. The death of one of them could mean the demise of both. Rose, fully knowing the danger Bison poses to the world, decided to take on the mad dictator and challenged him directly. Rose fought with all her soul power might, but was no match for Bison's psycho power, who decided to leave Rose behind and continued his mad plan. While Bison's plan still was unknown, he clearly is showing interest in the man who defeated Sagat, the Japanese wanderer Ryu. Bison's army grew in numbers. One particular faction of his army, however, was feared for its swift action, merciless acts, and unparalleled compliance. The unit in question is called the Elite Guards, but also had another infamous name, the Dolls. This special assassination unit is second only to the Shadaloo Kings, and is made of 12 young women who take orders only from Bison and would follow them in an almost robotic fashion. One of these members is the doll agent known as Killer Bee, and was Bison's favorite. She had an impeccable task record of assassinations, which made the dictator himself ordering her to head to India and assassinate a known individual who might seem like he could create a hurdle for the Psycho Power Master's grand plan. This individual is known as the Yoga Master Dalsim. Dalsim was a yogi and guru who had the respect of his country. Through his teachings, Dalsim taught his disciples and followers the road to self-enlightenment. Although peaceful and with few words, Dalsim is also a powerful warrior who is believed by his followers to possess the control of the mythical firepower of Agni. This is something that Killer Bee would find true, as upon meeting and attacking the Yoga Master, Bison's favorite doll found herself in trouble, as she was no match for the wise Dalsim. But the latter felt something odd within the assassin, a lack of will, almost a lack of soul. During their fight, Dalsim, using his mystical power, took hold of Killer Bee's mind and somehow unlocked it. It would appear that Killer Bee, much like the other dolls, had been brainwashed by Bison into subordination. Feeling free yet confused, Killer Bee leaves the scene looking for answers, and above all, looking for memories. As for Ryu, the wandering warrior continued traveling the world and fighting multiple warriors. During his travels, the young fighter found himself suddenly ambushed and caught in an illusion. It was Rose. The fortune teller has finally found the person she believes can end Bison's reign. She explains to Ryu that Bison is also seeking Ryu's hidden power, the Satsui no Hadou. Before disappearing, Rose foretells and warns Ryu that defeating Bison might cost the wandering warrior his very soul. Confused by this information, Ryu decides to seek the Shadaloo leader. Following his battle with Ryu, Ken started to doubt his motives and whether he should follow the path of martial arts now that he has a person in his life, Eliza, whom he wants to settle down with. But fate had it that the young master's heir met with Sakura and Karin. The latter is a heiress to the powerful and rich Kanzuki family. Seeing the rivalry between Karin and Sakura ignited the passion for fighting and reminded Ken of his rivalry with Ryu. Learning about Shadaloo and Bison, and how the latter might be interested in Ryu, Ken decided to seek the Mad Dictator to stop his plan. Ken was not the only one on his way to challenging Bison's reign, as Charlie Nash and the US Army were able to locate the Psycho Power Master in a remote mountain area in Brazil. Charlie decided to take on the Mad Dictator alone, rather than wait for reinforcement or his best friend Guile. While Nash, though, initially had the upper hand, the tables quickly turned, as a helicopter came to Bison's help and fired upon Charlie. It was then that Bison delivered the final blow that ended Charlie's life and sent his body down a nearby waterfall. The US Army lost contact with Charlie, and without evidence of his death, the military commander was presumed MIA. This event will change the life of Nash's best friend Guile forever. Upon hearing the news, Guile, known as a family man with a wife and daughter, leaves everything behind and embarks on a journey to find his friend and defeat Bison and Shadaloo. Killer Bee, who is now free from Bison's mind control, wandered the world looking for answers. Being Bison's favorite doll, the dictator sent his most trusted assassin, Vega, to track the missing doll and find whether she's still loyal to him. Vega tracked the ex-assassin and the two fought in a brutal fight that gave Killer Bee a permanent, minor, face scar. Vega, who was always jealous of why Killer Bee was regarded as a powerful warrior and one of Bison's favorite, decided to stop the fight. He then decided to reveal the truth to the amnesic fighter. Before fleeing the scene, Vega revealed that Killer Bee is a clone, an experiment for Bison to use at his will, and that the rest of the dolls are all mind-controlled guinea pigs. Shocked, angered, and sad, Killer Bee decides to take on Bison and free the rest of the dolls. Wandering the world, Ken Masters has finally found himself face to face against Bison. It turns out that the Shadaloo leader was also tracking Ken, revealing to him that he wants to test his Ansatsukin skills and use him as bait to get to Ryu. Ken fought with all his power, but was no match for Bison. Upon his defeat, Ken was captured by Bison and taken to his secret lair, where he was subjected to mind control using Bison's newly developed secret weapon, the Psycho Drive. This technological invention's true purpose remain unknown. Ryu, hearing about his friend going missing after taking on Bison, tracks his friend's whereabouts and was surprised to see Ken, his childhood friend who trained with him for years, showing no emotions and ready to attack. Ryu quickly realized that Ken is under the control of Bison. The two fought each other. Unlike himself, Ken was embracing a violent urge and was fighting to kill Ryu. After a difficult fight, Ryu was able to defeat the violent Ken, freeing him from the Shadaloo's mind control. Amused by the fight, Bison reveals to Ryu his true intentions and how his machine, the Psycho Drive's real purpose, is to transfer his mind to another body. It turns out that Bison understood that no matter how strong and powerful he gets, his body will one day fail him, and in order to grasp the ultimate power, he needs to ascend the limitations of the human body. One way he thought of achieving this is to be able to transfer his consciousness to other bodies when current ones are no longer at their peak, making him immortal. And he wants Ryu as one of these potential vessels. Ryu, angered by what transpired, promises to end Shadaloo's reign and attacks Bison. Yet the young Japanese fighter was no match for the dictator, as he has yet to recover from his violent match against Ken. Defeated, Ryu was taken aboard Bison's ship and put under the Psycho Drive mind wipe device, something that Sagat, Bison's right-hand man and Ryu's rival, did not agree with. and made him question his decision to join Shadaloo in the first place. Bison's psycho power channeled to Ryu through the psycho drive awakened the Satsui no Hadou within the young martial artist, turning him into an unstoppable force. Coincidentally, many fighters found their way to Bison's headquarters around the same time. Both Sakura and Karin find Ken, and the three of them try to distract Bison as Ryu fight against his eternal rival Sagat. Sagat, unhappy about Bison's method, urged Ryu to snap out of it. And through their fight, Ryu finally regains control of his body, understanding that Bison is an evil force that needs to be stopped. Ryu is now face to face with Bison, the man who caused the world so much pain and suffering. A fight unlike anything Ryu has seen took place. Bison easily gained the upper hand, but as Ryu channeled some of his Satsui no Hadou, as well as the love and care that his friends have given him throughout the years. Ryu attacks with a massive Shoryuken that sent Bison's body flying in the air. Trying to recover from this powerful attack, Bison stood up, only to find himself disintegrated. The defeated dictator rushed to use this powerful machine to transfer his consciousness somewhere safe. As he tries to use the Psycho Drive, the heroes use their combined powers to destroy the machine, and with it, Bison's body disintegrated into thin air. With Bison gone, Ryu and Ken are reunited along with Sakura, Karin, and all the other fighters who joined the fray. Ryu thanks Sakura for her help and explains to her, yet again, that he cannot be her mentor, and that he promises her another fight in the future. Ryu then decides to wear the red headband that Ken gifted to him sometime prior, indicating that he is now on a new path. The young hero then walks away towards another unknown journey and an unknown destiny. Killer Bee has also made it to the base with a mission to free the dolls, but the massive explosion caused the free doll to lose consciousness. She would later wake up in front of the British embassy, not remembering anything beforehand. The world thought Bison is gone, but the truth is far from that.